We've been waiting for these guys all day. I didn't know how this would go. I'll tell you what, in one of my videos earlier, I told you who I thought looked incredible today, and that was West 52nd. You'll see Jason had borrowed Greg Peck's jog cart. I was trying to figure out who the hell had Greg Peck's jog cart, but the reason he took it is because if you look closely, there's a gating pole, a pole that actually acts like a jog cart shaft. You can move in closer to keep the horses from running out. Oso Pine's issue last year was he wore a gating strap on the outside instead of trotting hobbles. Jason hung him up to run out today, but he forgot that maybe he grew up in the off season and he ended up making a break in a couple of turns where it was a little bit deeper, and he simply run in away from the gear that we had put on him. He had put on him this morning, made a couple little breaks, but you can tell he's mechanically sound as a dollar and still the beast that he was last year. But the most impressive horse of the day in my mind all day was the fella that's sitting on the front right now. This is West 52nd, number 4 green. He looked incredible this morning. This is a horse, I hope he qualifies just like that with no hobbles on. This horse will be infinitely faster with no hobbles on. There's Oso Pine's first break of the day. He made a break in almost every corner, simply because I think it was a combination, maybe a little bit of Jason Cement hands and maybe a little bit that he was running in and didn't have the hobbles on. But the fella up front, he also wore hobbles all last year, and I know Todd tries to keep him in hand. You can tell, if you remember, this guy can get a little wily, he can get a little crazy on the front end, get a little crazy in any position, but this was one of his first training miles back. You can see his ears up. He obliterated, his last start of the year, obliterated the consolation group in Ohio at Northfield, and this is exactly how he felt. He's really just keeping him contained right now, but he cuts him loose here in a little bit. You're going to see what I'm talking about. West 52nd looked awesome. You can see Oso Pine fill up the gap pretty quick right there. Now, if you see him just a little bit of skip behind, that's what he did last year, and that's why Jason had that gating pole on the outside. But with the hobbles on, he's a much, much different horse. So Oso Pine looks great as he did last year, but like last year, he definitely needs the hobbles to hold himself together. And you'll find, as I spoke before, coming out of this turn, a lot of horses have a problem with right here is where they always have an issue. Just coming out of this turn, where they switch their leads, straighten up into the stretch, they usually find themselves in trouble. And this guy didn't, I guess. I know he makes one more break, I think, put him in gear in the last turn. But these horses are really starting to trot right now. Look at the gait of the horse on the front end. He has got one of the most beautiful gaits. And this is what I saw going across the field in his yearling video, let alone at any other point. You know, Jason loses this guy right here, but he didn't want any part of this horse on the front end today. Watch him when Todd just gives him his head coming out of the turn. And man, oh man, his ears are straight in the air and he explodes out of the turn. I don't see a horse that's going to need hobbles there. And if this horse comes back the way he did and the way he looks like he is right there, we could have some kind of 3-year-old in West 52nd. He's doing a lot of trotting right now for a horse that has only trained a couple of times this year. He's really making it right there. And he trots through that deep turn right there, never puts a step in. I think we're going to have a horse for sure that doesn't need the hobbles. By far, the most impressive looking horse of the day is that fella right there, West 52nd. All business, all power today. Oso Pine, not really a big deal. I'm not too concerned with him. We know what kind of talent he is and how strong he is. Certainly no concerns with Oso Pine. Next time, maybe duck this guy for a little while, but next time they train, he'll have the hobbles on. I think he just maybe caught Jason off guard a little bit today. As I said, you're going to have some issues with some horses in this track until they learn to transition a little bit. Some of them may need a tiny bit of help, but for the most part, I was very, very happy with those two horses. Be right back in one sec with the next set.